Hi guys, welcome to another 2-minute devotion with Dad. We are still in Mark 4 and we're just doing the parable, no it's not a parable, the story. As evening, Jesus wanted to go to the other side of the lake, so they took the boat, headed out. The big fierce storm came up and Jesus was sleeping and they thought they were going to die, and he rebukes the winds and the waves. We've read this so many times, yeah? But something that struck me this morning, and I want to share with you, it's twofold. First of all, let's go to the first one. I'll start off. Up until now, Jesus had exercised authority over things like illnesses, demonic realm, injuries possibly. He was healing the sick and telling stories. He was still calling those people, so it's probably early days still. And now this represented almost a level up in challenge for the disciples, because now we're dealing not just with people's infirmities, which are, let's call them little for the moment, small, finite in size because they're contained to a body sort of thing. And now we are dealing with an environmental situation. It's gone huge. It's gone like their whole locality now, as far as they can see on the lake, is now under attack. And so it's literally gone next level for them. And so that's probably why Jesus rebuked them for their lack of faith, because he said, why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? And it's like Jesus was almost expecting them to extrapolate from their experiences into this level of, oh yeah, Jesus has got this too. I'm not sure, but it appears to me that the disciples, because they had never experienced Jesus dealing with anything of this magnitude before, they just suddenly expected him to not be able to handle it. And so the challenge for you and myself today is to remember what God has done for you, and that remember that he's Lord of all. Because obviously it says here, the waves are coming up and that they thought they were going to drown. But then he just said to the waves, silence, be still. And then it all settled down after that. Jesus had the first problem, and now he's got this one. And I don't think the disciples had yet reached that level of trust in Jesus' ability to manage this, because he was still asleep. And the fact that Jesus was asleep, suddenly it looks like they had ruled him out of the picture as being able to cope. He was asleep, therefore technically, not there, sort of thing. And just because Jesus is asleep in our situation, or appears to be, it doesn't mean he's not here with us in the boat still. And we just need to call upon him and ask him for that help. Now, once again, Jesus couldn't respond until he was awake, and then he rebuked them for the lack of faith. I wonder if they'd have just believed in him, the fact that he was there, whether or not that storm would have actually happened. And so whether or not Jesus orchestrated the storm, I don't know, it doesn't say. Because if he's in command of the winds and the waves, the weather patterns itself, maybe he knew that what was coming. He is God in the flesh. He probably knew that storm was coming and wanted to see what would happen. Maybe it was their next lesson. I don't know, like intended lesson. But I wonder if the disciples, had they been trusting in Jesus sufficiently all along, the storm may have actually gone away by itself. That, I guess, we shall never know until we get to heaven. So that's part one of this little devotional today. The challenge to you is, Jesus is in your boat. He hasn't gone anywhere. So trust him. Just because he might appear to be sleeping it doesn't mean that he's not here and able to help in the time of need, to just call upon him and remember his ability. Now, part 2, which I do with this one because it's pretty cool. Silence, be still. Let's go back into the word study of this one very quickly. So we're in Mark 4:39, and as we go down to here, one thing that struck me was, why did Jesus say both terms, peace and then be still? Why both of them? This is why. Before we go into the peace, it means from this word silence that is a hush, properly muteness, involuntary stillness, or inability to speak, thus differing from this other word, which is not actually this one, which is rather a voluntary refusal or indisposition to speak. So with the description of this peace, Jesus literally shut them up. He stopped them from being able to speak, the winds and the waves. Because to be silent, to hold on to peace, use of one's silence because dumb, as in not able to talk, or metaphor of a calm, quiet sea. So the word involuntary here is key, I think, or inability. He literally shut down the ability of these winds and the waves to be able to do their speaking or their raging or their thing. So he literally reversed their ability for that time to be able to have their power. And when we go down to these examples, people who are holding their peace, who are not talking, even Jesus held his peace. So it's like exercising self-control to shut yourself down and not talk. And so he enforced this upon the winds and the waves, even though they are products of nature and physical forces. He shut that down. It's amazing. Now we're going to the be still. This is where it gets exciting. Now it means muzzle, to close the mouth with a muzzle, or to muzzle, to stop the mouth, to make speechless, to reduce to silence, to become speechless, to be kept in check. So now, not only did Jesus shut down the winds and waves, he kept them so. He actually kept them in check. So not only he took away their ability to rage, he actually now held them in place for a time. And once again, it's when you look at these examples, the man was speechless. He was like sort of held in that inability to talk. The people were silenced. Hold your peace and come out of him. Peace, be still. There's the other example of that one we're in. So it's not just like shut up. It's now stay quiet, remain so. And it's quite amazing because Jesus is now exercising ongoing, continued authority over these winds and the waves. Not just for the moment, but it continues for him for that time. So just something I wanted to just bring to light with these two words, and show you that a lot of the power and the keys lie in the etymology, or the words behind these interpretations. And it was quite amazing that how much is hidden here that we don't find unless we go looking for it. And remember, with the previous parable, he said, pay close attention to what you hear. The closer you listen, the more understanding you will be given, and you will receive more. To those who listen to my teaching, more understanding will be given. But to those who are not listening, even what they have, little understanding will be taken away from them. And it's the concept of due diligence now that we need to have into studying not just the parables, but Jesus' life. And this is what I'm trying to hopefully instill, is that the idea of going deeper, learning more, discovering for yourself. Yes, we're doing it together, but my hope is that the more you do it with me, the more you'll be inclined to start reaching out into your own little times. And all of these videos have come out of just a time of studying, sitting back, reflecting. I mean, sometimes there's been hours worth of time that's gone into one of these videos, just so I can sit and mull over and get all my thoughts together. But it's like sometimes it's a day into this. Like when I say a day, I'm not sitting here all day. It might be an hour, my day's worth of time. An hour or so, I might sit here and walk away, and it's not till the next morning I come back and I'm going, oh, wow. And all this stuff starts to come together. So it takes time. The disciples were still spending time with him in their early days, and these things are still happening. But I think one of the sad things is the final thing. Who is this man? Even the winds and waves obey him. So they were still getting to know him. And that's encouraging as well as disappointing. The encouraging part is, even though they still didn't know him that well, they were still experiencing his power and amazingness and grace. But the sad part is they still didn't know him enough to trust him that well and didn't really tap into what he could do. But that's why their journey was still not yet complete. So be encouraged. They are people. You're a person. They are humans. You're human. I'm a human. We are all in this knowledge game together of learning about God, learning Jesus, discovering him for who he is in our lives. And just when we think we've got it, there's our next surprise. So tap into that next surprise, learn from God, and find out what he's got for you. Bless you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.